And if your employer matches what you add, that's effectively free money. Let's talk about tax planning, because that does play a big role. Now, once your pensions are organised, there are ways to give your savings a boost. Well, the thought of finally reaching your dream retirement age only to realise you're further away from your state pension than you thought can be truly disheartening. It can feel like the goalposts are constantly moving, forcing us to rethink one of the most important life events. But the truth is, the state pension age is indeed a moving target, and it depends on the year you were born. So currently, it's set to rise from 66 to 67 between 2026 and 2028, then 68 between 2044 and 2046. So for anyone planning their future, this creates pretty stressful uncertainty, but here is the important part. You do not have to wait until your late 60s to finally stop working. I hope that doesn't come as too much as a surprise to you. You can retire whenever you want, actually, subject to having enough resource to do so, of course. Now, retiring on your own terms is absolutely possible with a proactive saving strategy and a solid retirement income plan, but you must build your own bridge to those years before the state pension finally kicks in. By knowing your personal state pension age, you can plan precisely how much you're going to need to fund the years leading up to it, whether that's boosting your savings, investing more wisely, or creating alternative income streams. The goal is the same: to claim your freedom sooner rather than later. So the critical question is this, I think: how will you fund those crucial years before you're eligible to claim the state pension? Before you start looking at how to bridge the gap, it's pretty important to understand whether you actually have one. Everybody's situation is different, of course. Some people may already have enough in their pensions, savings, or other investments to comfortably cover the years before their state pension begins. A practical first step is to calculate your expected expenses for those in-between years and compare them to your projected income. That includes workplace or personal pensions and accessing cash or investment ISAs or any other investments you might have, and whatever income you'll continue to enjoy. Maybe that's part-time earnings or rental incomes. So the key question is, how do you actually bridge that gap? Recognizing a shortfall is one thing, but taking action to redress it is what really counts. Let's start with perhaps the obvious one: your workplace pension. Even a small increase in what you put in today can make a real difference later on. And if your employer matches what you add, that's effectively free money invested straight into your retirement. A great top tip is not to let pay rises and bonuses go to waste if an earlier and better retirement is truly important. If you're relatively comfortable with the life you've got today, then why not pass up an extra few £100 a month in your bank account and pay that extra into your pension? This is often called lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation, where you spend more because you earn more, when it may not really be as important as investing in your future self. Obviously, there's a balance between living for today and saving for tomorrow. I totally get that, but understanding what is possible is a great starting point to making those decisions. And our free review can help you with that, of course. If you're self-employed, personal pensions are a brilliant way of paying less tax on your profits. But pensions aren't the only piece of the puzzle, of course. You've got saving into ISAs or other investments which can give you flexibility and a safety net for life's surprises. It's also worth understanding how timing your retirement impacts what's possible. For example, if your original goal was 55 and you're short, well, adjusting to 57 or 58 could significantly boost your pension pot and reduce the period you'll need to rely on it. I've been talking a lot recently about having more money or more time in retirement, and it's a trade-off, of course, but think about whether you would rather have more money per month and work longer, or settle for less per month but retire earlier. It's very important to decide what you are prepared to do when there is a shortfall. So think about that before your free review, and it'll be much easier to come up with a plan we can sign off together. Then there's pension consolidation, which generally is the starting point for getting your retirement plan understood and driving towards an acceptable destination. If you've worked a few jobs, it's very likely you've got old pensions spread across different providers. It's really important to understand exactly what benefits you have from each one of those and what they could deliver by the age you want to retire. Now, consolidating these pensions into a single plan can make them much much easier to manage, giving you a much clearer picture of your total savings, and it'll help you plan more effectively for that earlier and better retirement. Now, once your pensions are organised, there are ways to give your savings a boost. Now, most taxpayers benefit from tax relief in the UK. Every £100 you contribute is topped up by £25 if you're a basic rate taxpayer, and higher earners can often claim even more back. With workplace pensions, you'll usually pay in 5%, while your employer contributes at least 3%. That's of your salary, of course. Some employers are far more generous, and if you can increase your contribution, it's worth asking whether they'll match it, helping your savings grow faster. Now, with defined benefit schemes, or final salary schemes as they're often known, you'll have a benefit at the date you left, and this will be typically increasing every year roughly in line with inflation. So something you perceive to be insignificant might actually not be. We can find out for you and accurately build it into your plan. Now, when it comes to investment-based pensions, properly known as defined contribution pensions, we often come across plans that haven't been reviewed for some time, usually many years. And in lots of cases, the underlying investment choices may longer align with your goals or your attitude to risk. By reviewing and, where appropriate, adjusting your pension investments, you can help ensure they remain suitable and well positioned to support your future plans. So, bringing multiple investment-based pensions together makes it far easier to manage. It can reduce overall fees and certainly gives you a far clearer picture of what you really have at any point in time. It also gives you and your advisor the opportunity to utilize best of breed investments and react to changes in investment markets as they occur. For some people, retiring well before the state pension age, currently 66 and set to rise to 67 by 2028, might not be immediately achievable, and that's okay, and sometimes you just have to accept that. But adjusting your timeline by even a few years can still be a smart financial move. For instance, if your goal was to retire at 55, but you need to wait until 57 or 58, those extra years can make a huge difference. They give you more time to save, more time for your investments to grow, and fewer years to stretch your savings across. Even a small shift in timing can make retirement early far more sustainable. Now, when you start drawing income from your pension before your state pension starts, tax efficiency becomes absolutely essential. Pension withdrawals are treated as taxable income under UK law, but 25% of your pension pot can usually be taken tax-free. After that, withdrawals are taxed at your marginal rate. Now, if you're still working part-time, you'll need to think really carefully about how much you take from your pension each year to avoid pushing yourself into a higher rate tax bracket. Combining your personal allowance, which is $12,570 for most people in 25-26 tax year, your pension withdrawals and income from ISAs can help you manage this effectively. ISA withdrawals, whilst I'm talking about them, remain tax-free, so using them strategically can reduce how much taxable income you take each year. Some people actually choose to take a phased approach to retirement, gradually reducing their working hours rather than stopping abruptly. This can involve moving from full-time to part-time work, or taking on flexible or consultancy roles whilst starting to draw from your pension in stages. Phased retirement offers several advantages. It smooths your income, it helps you manage day-to-day expenses without fully relying on your savings, and it allows you to make the most of tax allowances each year. So keeping part of your pension invested for longer gives your money more time to grow, which can help your savings last further into retirement. Now, beyond the financial benefits, phased retirement also helps ease you into retirement from work. It lets you adjust to a new routine, maintain social connections, that's if you like the people at work, of course, and continue feeling productive, making early retirement a more sustainable and maybe even more enjoyable experience. Let's talk about tax planning, because that does play a big role. Making the most of allowances, timing your contributions, understanding the reliefs available, it all helps keep more of your money working for you. Retiring before state pension age is absolutely possible, but it's very individual. It depends on your circumstances, your age, your goals, and that's why seeking advice really does matter. Now, before you can plan for the retirement you want, it's worth stepping back a little bit and making sure the basics are covered. Being financially independent in retirement usually means having a few key building blocks in place. First, paying off debts. High interest borrowing eats into your income and can outweigh any returns your savings are making. So clearing those balances before your retirement gives you a cleaner slate and fewer worries. Next, let's talk about your mortgage. Now, paying that off does reduce your outgoings dramatically in most cases, and it frees up cash flow that you can redirect towards living the life you want. Imagine not having that monthly repayment hanging over your head. But there's an argument for retaining debts as well, which you can comfortably afford, particularly the mortgage, and adjusting surplus income for additional pension contributions to take advantage of the tax relief. For example, if your mortgage rate is 5%, paying £100 off your mortgage means that £100 is effectively earning 5%. Which is £5. By contrast, paying £100 into a pension as a basic rate taxpayer gives you 20% tax relief. And if you do the maths, that turns £100 into £125. That's a gain of £25, not £5. And if you're hoping to retire before state pension age, you'll need to think carefully about how you'll use those resources to generate income. You'll still need enough to cover your everyday essentials, things like food, utilities and healthcare, so you can maintain peace of mind knowing your core needs are covered. Beyond that, it's about making sure you have enough to support the lifestyle you want before your state pension kicks in. Now, that might be traveling, pursuing new hobbies. You might simply want to have the freedom to enjoy your time off work. And finally, don't forget emergency savings. Life still throws surprises at us even in retirement. It'll probably never stop. Having a safety net set aside for unexpected costs means you won't need to dip into your pension or investments at the wrong time. Get these foundations right and you'll be in a much stronger position to focus on building the retirement you've been dreaming about. So, retiring before state pension age, it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about freedom, it's about choice and making your hard work count. And with the right planning, you can design a retirement that fits around you, not the other way around. But here's the catch, even the best laid plans of mice and men, I think they say, there's one mistake that could undo everything, and it's a mistake far too many people make. So in the next video, we're going to uncover what that is, and more importantly, how to avoid it. So folks, click here. See you there.